This is Louis, and this is going to be my second Patron video for the month of August. I said in a previous take October, because my mind is already in October, baby. I'm ready and raring to go. Anyways, my $25 level supporters are Winnie C, Fat Cat, the legendary Zoltan, Dale Ritter, and the Debonair Fox. So thank you to those who donated to me at that level, and be sure to stick by for afterwards where I will name the rest, alright? Let's go right into it. So this is Louis, and for today I'm going to be addressing the elephant in the room as it relates to the Western gaming industry. And no, it isn't social justice. Well, okay, it is social justice, but more so than that, it's the inability of developers to get out of their own way. Earlier in the month, Angry Joe, a well-established gaming commentator, and Jeremy from The Quartering, a more general median political commentator, got into some YouTube drama. Angry Joe released this bad take from within his sand dune echo chamber about how everything going wrong in the Western AAA gaming market is the fault of steep competition and release dates, but nothing to do with the presence of social justice activists within the industry. There are no examples of activists being present in gaming. There are no examples of activists consulting on game development. There are no examples of those games going on to become spectacular, shocking sales disasters that result in incredibly promising franchises becoming worthless radioactive waste. Thankfully, those non-existent franchises were overrated, edgy ripoffs, and so I never gave a shit in the first place. But Joe's right. Take it from me. I'm an open-minded, progressive guy. I have no problem with diversity, inclusion, representation, man-hatred, and socialism. These things are part and parcel of living in 2018. Jeremy, on the other hand, differed with Joe's sandy analysis. He thought maybe, perhaps, we should include the idea that social justice may be doing to gaming what it's unequivocally done to Marvel Comics. Because when you think about it, we seem to have an increasing number of examples of games that incorporate social justice and go on to fail in spectacular fashion. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a colored woman as a protagonist. Not to mention the majority of the white supremacist organization known as the Galactic Empire were non-white and had front holes. That sounds pretty representative and inclusive to me. Despite the spectacular success of The Last Jedi, known for being a Star Wars fan favorite, Battlefront 2 landed like a turd in a toilet bowl. Wolfenstein 2, the sequel to the generic shooter that people obsessed over for about a year and a half before it went down the memory hole, was advertised as the perfect outlet for soy boys and land whales to punch their political opponents. But unfortunately for Bethesda, just like about every other game they've released in the last few years, it bombed. Dishonored 2, the sequel to the incredibly original Dishonored 1, was said to be a phenomenal success. However, the first game wasn't very diverse. So the developers brought in well-known nonpartisan game critic Anita Sarkeesian to consult them on how to make their game better. Unfortunately, the game was a disaster and has now been shelved until its half-life expires. And Mass Effect Andromeda?
This is why I don't play games anymore. Thank you, BioWare. God bless you.
Suffice to say that I just have the feeling that maybe, perhaps, Jeremy may be onto something. But what was Joe's response to Jeremy's criticism?
The Angry Cuck Show, nice straw man argument and lies, Joe. Disingenuous, low IQ. The Angry Cuck, Social Justice Warrior Cuck, Angry Just Show, Angry Cuck Show, fuck off, you filleting spick. Angry Joe, fuck up, you fucked up, you fat cuck, Bale made a cuck. God, you really are a cuck, fucking sellout, what a fag, Angry Cuck Show. Not my Joe, well, he's a dirty fucking Mexican. I'm done with Joe, I used to join his videos, but he's a faggot. You sellout, pissed off Pedro. Yeah, so really great audience here.
So unfortunately for us open-minded male feminist future convicts, Joe's response was just whining about his mentions like a teenage girl for 16 minutes. However, let's turn to the topic of their discussion, Battlefield 5. What's the problem with it? After all, isn't this just another World War II first-person shooter?
Hello, old friend.
It does include disabled English women and Afro weeaboos, so I get the feeling that this isn't your typical World War II shooter, but hey, it shouldn't matter, right? We're all educated people here, after all, and just because this game looks like yet another shovelware sequel from EA, that shouldn't matter. Battlefield 5 is coming out in October, the same month as Red Dead Redemption 2 and the blockbuster, top-selling, cream of the crop, Call of Duty 47. Okay, coincidentally, as I wrote this script, it's no longer going to release in October, but chances are it's still just going to sell as badly. As everybody knows, Call of Duty is one of the industry's safest franchises, with a customer base that is unparalleled by literally any other in the last 15 years. Get that shit off the fucking screen! So maybe Call of Duty is not in the best of positions anymore sales-wise. That just goes to show the strength of Battlefield. Whoa! Just because pre-orders are down doesn't mean that...
Oh God! Oh God! Oh my God! Oh God!
Holy shit. How bad are we talking here? You're telling me this piece of shit is selling less than Battlefield Hardline? You're telling me this thing is selling so poorly that you have to go back nearly a decade to find something even comparable? Wow. So, is social justice the true culprit in this? In some ways, yes, but I think a big part of what's going wrong relates to the industry itself. I recorded a commentary a while back called The Inconsequential Death of Western Gaming, which dealt with the issue of social justice influence in gaming and the problem of zombie buyers. By that I mean normies who invest no real effort prior to buying a title, play it for a short amount of time, and then drop the game like it's an empty candy wrapper in a garbage can. In my view, millions of people meet that definition, and because of them, large publishers like EA can get away with absolutely anything. It doesn't matter how much you gouge players, or how little effort you put in shovelware sequels, or even if you go as far as to insult your customers, zombie buyers always show up with cash in hand. Contrast to zombie buyers, you have finicky buyers, those that pay attention to the games and developers prior to buying their products. They don't like price gouging, lazy produced shovelware, and scumbag game developers. They're fussy customers, and when they see things that put them off, they don't buy the product. Or should they choose to buy something, they wait for a sale. There are millions of finicky buyers, but they're valued less because they are more observant and more likely to walk away if provoked. As you can tell from my choice of words, I don't exactly meet the criteria of either group. I'd like to lie and tell you that I'm smart with my money, but overall, with gaming, I'm an impulsive buyer. And with some franchises, I'm a guaranteed customer. I remember when Max Payne 3 was being advertised, and some gamers, by that I mean people that only played the second game, were upset by the obvious changes made to the new sequel. All I wanted was a new Max Payne game, because I like Rockstar games, and Max Payne is one of my favorite franchises when I was young. The third game wasn't exactly perfect, but I liked it. As a fan, it gave me what I wanted, simple as that. Compare that to the Mafia franchise, which started as a serious drama, morphed into a lame-as-shit buddy comedy that barely related to the mystique of the Italian Mafia, and has now ended with a third title where you play a black super soldier and what amounts to a shitty, politically correct action movie. One that I would have skipped because it has nothing to do with being in the fucking mob. You know, the entity the game is named after? The thing that people enjoy for being related to Italians, romanticism, and drama? My point being, there's good but admittedly imperfect experimentation and politically correct trash that has nothing to do with the original material. Assassin's Creed, as a franchise, has been popular in mainstream for over 10 years. It's had a ton of sequels, some good by the estimate of players and some bad, but in those 10 years, I've yet to play a single title from the series. Ubisoft has certainly bilked enough money out of me in the past, so in large part, I've had very little interest in the Assassin's Creed franchise. In that time, the developers behind the series have been experimenting with the material they have to not only try and satisfy existing fans, but bring in new ones to maintain the longevity of the sequels. As I've said, I'm an open-minded guy, and can be sold a product. All I need, on your part, is to sell me it. Sell me your game. I'm sitting here with $60 in hand, waiting to be your customer. Can you hear that? I'm holding $60 as I record this, and all I need is for you to give me that gentle push. Just an iota of persuasion for me to part with my money. Sell me your game, Ubisoft.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is more than just an adventure. It truly is a role-playing journey. You will explore, on land and sea, one of the most iconic and influential settings in human history, ancient Greece. The golden age of Athens saw the rise of democracy, modern medicine, revolutionary art, and Western philosophy. But it was also a time of war. a devastating conflict between Sparta and Athens, the Peloponnesian War, divided the Greek world and changed the course of history.
I've read Homer's Odyssey and Iliad cover to cover. The banner art that I use in all my accounts is of Eris and Io, two goddesses from Athenian mythology. This is a setting that I have a personal, emotional, intellectual, and philosophical investment in. Good work, Ubisoft. You hooked me. I'm interested. What else can you offer me?
Creating a full-blown RPG was our goal from day one. Weapon, gear, and ability choice are key parts of that. When leveling up, dozens of special abilities, each with multiple upgrades, become available. Assassin's Creed Odyssey will constantly entice players with adventure across hundreds of quests, locations, as well as dynamic events. And in those adventures, for the first time ever, you will be able to lie, betray, or roleplay the hero. It's all up to you and how you choose to play.
Pull on our pants for this one. Pull them up. Let's go. Do it for the hood.
Okay, I can work with this. The combat seems pretty flashy and simplistic, but if the RPG mechanics are in place for this to not be a rigid storyline, that's keeping my attention, but I'm not sold. I realize that this is fiction, but I have yet to hear about even a single historically significant figure.
Once I heard the great Socrates was on Delos, I raced over to hear his words of wisdom.
Ah, but what are words? Can they be wise, or are they simply words?
This is the exact thing I needed to hear. Socratic reason is the bedrock of Western philosophy, and I consider the execution of Socrates to be one of the most horrifically tragic but ultimately noble events in human history.
He is doing what he thinks is the right thing to do. He thinks the life he has chosen, this life of thinking for yourself, is the best life. As he says in his speech, the unexamined life is not worth living for a human being.
Socrates was the proto-statesman, the proto-philosopher, the proto-individualist, and the proto-skeptic. If the entire world owed anyone a debt, it's Socrates. Now all I need for you to do, Ubisoft, is to take my money and stop talking. They made the female protagonist the canon version, that's fine. Let's just ease back, Ubisoft.
For example, if you're playing as Alexios, you could romance Taletas in the demo. Okay. And if you're playing as Cassandra, you can romance Kira.
No, don't start pushing the gay romances in the demos. Calm down. And now people are demanding that the protagonist be a canon open lesbian in 400 BC. Ubisoft, you have sold me on your game. Say nothing more, and I will buy your product. I am holding the money in hand. Just stop. Stop with the fucking virtue signaling. Stop with the fucking gender politics and BioWare romance bullshit. Stop telling me about how fucking woke your dyke super soldier from 400 BC is. Just sell me your game. It's coming out in like a fucking month. Please just stop. I don't want to fuck Socrates. I want to help him create a benevolent autocracy or something interesting and fun. This is an adventure game in ancient Athens, not a visual novel set in Japan's equivalent to fucking high school. Is that okay with you? Is not following BioWare's model into foreclosure acceptable to you? Yes? Good! Then do a Japanese style bow, shut the fuck up, and sell me your game! So that was my second Patreon video for this month. I hope all of you were satisfied by it. I know there's not much to it. It's mostly a joke video laughing at the expense of people that are just by all appearances just trying to fail. You know, that appears to be the message of what I was trying to relay to you, but just what's coming out of the industry. It's like, hey, how can we not sell you our product? I mean, that's just Battlefield 5 in a fucking nutshell. Anyways, let me tell you the supporters that I have at the $25 level, and that's Winnie C. Fat Cat, the legendary Zoltan, Dal Ritter, and the Debonair Fox. And at the $15 level, it's Matt D, Troy H, Will M, Isaac O, Raging Buffalo, Snakpak, and Mosammed Al Haiyid. I'd like to thank all of you that support me, whether it's at the $25, $15, $5, $1, or if you've chosen no reward. I'd like to thank all of you for your support. and say that, you know, I appreciate it, and I'm trying as hard as I can to get out material for you to watch and for you to enjoy. And I know that this video is not all that serious. It's mostly just me having a laugh at the expense of the industry and ranting about the fact that this is the first Assassin's Creed that I'm interested in. And yeah, it's coming out in a month, but I just look at it and I say to myself, like, they're going out of the way to try to unsell the game to me. It's so bizarre to watch. Like, all you have to do is show off the mechanics of the game. Show me the fights. Show me the sea battles. Show me the figures like Socrates. Show me what's actually in the fucking game. Okay, you have romances in it. You have 2 known romances, and that's it. That's great. Show them once. Talk about them once. That's all you need to fucking do. It's one mechanic in the game. You don't need to constantly broadcast it, and that's what they do. They include it in the trailers. They talk about it in every demo they show. It's like, dude, all you have to do is talk about the in-game mechanics. Sell me the actual game. I don't give a shit that it has romances in it. BioWare did that, and guess what? It didn't save their fucking company. You know, now they're coasting along hoping that Anthem saves their entire fucking company from closure. Their last game that featured all sorts of fucking romances and hookup culture and all that stupid shit in space resulted in foreclosure. They had their fucking entire studio consolidated because of that. It's not a selling point. Okay, this is not a fucking visual novel. I don't know what to say. Like, I play visual novels. If I wanted to play a visual novel, I just play it. If these fucking wastoid faggots that have infiltrated gaming want to play a visual novel, they can just go play them. You know why they don't? It's because they're ecchi. They're hentai. They have material in them that these people don't like. Even though if they were to actually focus on that material, they would find ones where they have like affirmative consent. I've talked about that in the past. One of the visual novels I play had step-by-step affirmative consent in it. They would love that shit if they cared about it at all, but no, they want to infiltrate and affect everything that is just mainstream gaming. And that's the problem, where even if you include, you know, you can role play and you can include these different mechanics and it changes the narrative and you have choices and you can play multiple protagonists and all that shit, that's great. But the big fear is the fact that you include social justice and it just destroys the fucking game, which has been every example ever given. There's never been a game given that has not been negatively impacted by social justice. Not one. Not a single one. They've all been damaged because of it. Because you can't make a game that is guided by politically correct ideology that results in a quality product. It doesn't fucking happen. Period. There is not one example that anyone can give. No, the examples of games that the people give about social justice are games like Life is Strange, which people openly mock, or Mass Effect Andromeda, which people like PewDiePie were ridiculing to such extent that you know it damaged their sales. A guy with 60 million fucking subs was mocking what they were taking seriously, and in the end was nothing but a fucking joke. I beat the game, it's a piece of shit, never worth playing. And I'm sure that if I ever beat Dragon Age Inquisition, it'll be the same fucking deal. I'll sit there at the end, credits rolling, thinking to myself, wow, that was a waste of my fucking time. Because in the end, like I say in this commentary, you don't get anything that's better. It's never better. It's just politically correct and worse. So what's the point? There is no point. It's just ideologically correct. But I've been talking for long enough. Thanks again to Winnie C. Fat Cat, the legendary Zoltan, Dan Ritter, Debonair Fox, Matt D, Troy H, Will M, Isaac O, Raging Buffalo, Snakpak, and Mosammed Al-Haiyid. Thank you for your support, and I hope you appreciate what I'm doing here, and I hope you appreciate my rants and the rest of my channel. Thank you to everyone that supported me so far. I've had a big month this month. I'm sure many of you have noticed that. I'm approaching 20K, finally about to hit it, and I hope that you guys will help me achieve that. And but otherwise, thank you for all your support.